Okay, we have a green box, we have a live counter ticking up, so we should now be live, which of course means welcome back to the Storytime Network. We are having a special Tuesday Paradox Hour, mostly because we were supposed to have this Thursday, and now Thursday's turned into Baldur's Gate, and we just decided to swap them round. But we're here with the Paradox Hour, and we're here to talk about the Dresden Files. Specifically, the first set of short stories, side jobs, and book 13? Ghost Story?
13, yes.
It always messes
up. It's 13.
Is it? No, Changes is book 12.
No, it's 4. Skin Game is 14.
No, Skin Game is 15.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Skin Game is 15. Okay, never mind. I miscounted. I was miscounting.
Stop messing me up, because I always remember it with how Changes it's 12, but I always feel like it should be 13.
It really should be.
Lucky number 13, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? For a long time, I thought Ghost Stories was 11.
Anyway, we are here to discuss that. Before we get started, I'm just going to do this so, just in case anyone, well, on the off chance that the people watching this wouldn't have not watched the anime mid-season check-in that we did, I have introduced a new thing. This will be new for you as well, Fuzzy. We now have a red flag to be talked about when topics are, potentially triggering. And if you, decide to mute when we are talking about a potentially triggering topic, we will take the red flag down when we have stopped. So you then know you can
be popping
unmute.
up more than a couple times.
Probably, yes. We are probably going to actually get some use from it today, unlike with the anime stream.
Oh, there's going to be some stuff.
Oops. The wrong thing.
Well, I do request that for parts, we only put up the red flag when we're talking about the triggering thing. There are some things I want to talk about regarding the specific story that we're going to need the red flag for that do not require the red flag.
No, we're not going to have it up for the entire discussion of the story, but
yes.
Just while we're talking about the potentially triggering thing.
I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I know.
Almost certainly, yes. So yes, let's start off with side jobs. Let's start off with the first short story, A Restoration of Faith.
Now, this one's a bit weird because it's like really early.
I think this is literally like the first thing that Butcher wrote for Dresden. Like,
he wrote this one well before he had fully ironed out the magic system.
Yeah. I mean, I think fully ironed out anything, really, other than maybe Harry's personality.
He's also on record as saying it's not his best work.
No, I think he probably feels like that for basically anything pre-Grave Peril. Like, I think he has outright admitted that Stormfront and Full Moon are not the best.
Yeah. They have their charm, but they are by far the weakest Dresden books. But yes, but no, Restoration of Faith is a neat little story about Harry channeling his inner Batman and being protective of a child who needs help.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because this is when he was still working for, what was it, Ragged Angel Investigations, whose main job is looking for its main job was looking for lost children.
Yeah, it's funny that we're starting with that in consideration of the fact that
yes, it is.
That does come into play later.
Yes.
In this book, yeah. So yeah, this is I forget, was the enemy some sort of spirit or demon or something
It was
along
a
those
troll.
lines?
It was a
It
troll.
was a bridge troll.
Yeah, bridge troll.
Yeah, my man's was not being the most,
Original.
It's not a matter of originality, I think. It's more just a matter of he's, like, realized, or he hadn't realized where he was going with the story yet, and what sort of, like, mechanics and stakes he would have in various parts of the thing. And I'm gonna be real with you, the thing with the ring light was a little bit weird.
I mostly chalk that up to early installment weirdness, personally.
It's just like he was definitely going for a much different direction for the magic system, I think.
Yeah. The Restoration of Faith does suffer a bit from being so early on in Jim Butcher's writing career.
Again, it's less the story and it's more the establishment of Harry. Like this is peak Harry. You know, running his mouth off, bluffing his way through shit, but with a heart of gold.
It's missing something very important from establishing Harry's character, though.
Being dumb
What's
around
that?
a woman.
Yes. There are no women in this case, and therefore there's no opportunity to show that
I mean,
Harry is...
Oh, no, there is a woman in the case. It's just, it's Faith's rich asshole mom.
no, he never meets her. The woman in this case is Murphy, and he's too worried about being arrested to really, you know.
Right.
Not to mention, you know, the whole troll thing, because that was around.
Yeah, no, not fun.
And the only other female character was the little girl, and you know, Dresden's.
Harry is better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry Dresden has a lot of flaws. Thankfully, that is not one of them.
Yes. Imagine writing a series with someone like that as a protagonist.
I mean,
It's
you're watching a show like that, Jack.
I know, it's awful.
Then why are you still watching it?
Masochism.
Oh boy.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't think there's a huge amount else to say about Restoration of Faith. It's a nice little short story that, you know, before the start of the series, introduces Harry, introduces Murphy, and I think, you know, if I remember correctly from a word of Jim, Faith is going to come back at some point. I think at the start of the big apocalyptic trilogy.
Oh, that's some long game stuff, jeez.
Okay, this may be a controversial take. That feels unnecessary?
We'll see. I'm
I feel
sure.
like characters
Look, Butcher is the writer that took the challenge of being able to make a was it just a straight sex scene or a BDSM scene relevant to the plot?
BDSM specifically.
Yeah, BDSM scene relevant to the plot, and he took that challenge and he fucking ran with it. If he decides he wants to go, I want to put this character from the first short story in at the end, I'll let him cook.
Yep. When Jim Butcher actually cooks, he can cook pretty well.
Well, either he cooks well or he does some stuff.
Butcher is not a
But
perfect writer.
No.
The next one really is a short story. I mean, it's even called, I think, Vignette in Side Jobs, which is literally just Harry and Bob talking about Harry's ad.
Yeah.
And again, it's a. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a thing that, as much as it supposedly takes place between death masks and blood rites, I wouldn't be shocked if this was again one of the first things that Butcher wrote as, you know, an establishment of Harry's character and Bob's character. Because again, it's very good at that. And again, it's, you know, they say death masks and blood rites, but, you know, it's Harry coming up with the ad that he started the series with, I thought. Or maybe he's just looking to see if he should change it. I don't know, but...
I think that's what it is. It's been a hot minute since I read this one.
I mean,
since I read any of them, honestly.
I mean, this would probably be more like the, like, super short stories that Butcher posted pre Peace Talks and Battleground.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, because it is short. It's absolutely short. It is just a back and forth between Harry and Bob. It's probably like a couple of pages long. I mean, it's, you know, it is basically Bob just going, you have to make it more interesting than what it is. You know, maybe add some sex in it. No. Add some monsters in it. No. At least jazz it up a little bit. No. That costs money.
He has a point. It does cost money for goods and services.
Indeed it does.
I mean, it has quite a... I like this joke of Bob going, the advertisement is flat, and Harry going, yeah, well, most of them are. I don't think they offer raised lettering.
I do love literalisms
funny.
like that.
and then Bob banging his head on the wall and just going, it's boring. Oh, you think I should have gone 4-color? I have nightmares about hell where all I do is add up numbers and try to have conversations with people like you.
I mean, depending on how hell works in this series mechanically, that might not be inaccurate.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's a nice little establishing shot for two main characters. It's nothing huge. It's fun. I liked it. But, you know, it's not ripping up trees. The next one is more substantial and actually has some relevance to plot and does get mentioned later on. Because it is...
now we're getting into the meaty ones.
Yes, because we are talking about something borrowed. Where Jenny Greenteeth from Summer Night abducts Georgia the werewolf the night before her and Billy's wedding, and Dresden has to get her back.
Yep. Because
which is mentioned in the main series.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, it turns out that getting accidentally hitched to a fae is not great. And it has some possibly very painful results.
Yeah, my Kindle is not turning on, so I can't get the text up, but I'm fairly sure... I can't remember exactly what it was. I might just get a PDF of it. I've bought the book. I don't have to worry. It's not like I'm distributing it.
I will say one thing, however. This was a bit confusing when it came up in the main series.
Yes, again, there are a couple of, like, a few mentions of these short stories in the main series, and if you haven't read the short stories, yes, they are confusing. Like, not to get too much into spoilers, but I'm just going to say a certain part of a character appeared in, I think it was the end of Peace Talks, that appeared in the second lot of short stories.
Right.
and
Right.
peop-
That it was also
And people
was
like,
also mentioned.
who the fuck is this? And like, why is this person important? And the people who'd read it were like, oh shit.
Yep.
I had that was actually mentioned for the first time in Cold Days.
Very possibly it was, yes.
Regardless, we it does have some really fun stuff with Harry just having to deal with his general irritation with the Fae courts and their bullshit.
I mean, can you really blame him?
Oh no, I cannot blame him in the slightest. The Fae courts are, bullshit. And filled with bullshit, you know? So much asshattery going on with those Fae, you know?
But this was basically, I believe, Maeve's revenge for
For Summer Night, I believe, yes.
yeah.
She was gross like that.
Mm-hmm. Not the worst thing she winds up doing, though. We'll get to that.
So yeah, so I believe she tried to drown Harry in the punch bowl, right?
Yes.
Yes,
If I recall
Or was it
correctly.
someone else who she tried to drown in the punch bowl?
No, I
No, I'm
think
pretty sure it was Harry.
yeah, because Murphy had to perform mouth to mouth and said he tasted like punch. Oh no,
That's
or was it
the
Murphy?
least.
It was either Murphy or Harry that got drowned in the punch bowl. I can't remember. I'm trying to get a good, like, fucking PDF up. But I'm now having to fucking download Kindle.
I have a hard copy of it, so I'd have to like find it in my bookshelf somewhere.
Well, the issue is, back when I bought Side Jobs and a couple of other Dresden, like, I think Cold Days and the Skin Game, I was using my mum's Amazon Kindle account. So it's on that one, which I don't really have access to anymore.
Ah, yeah, that is awkward.
So I can't do anything, can't get anything with that.
Awkward.
Yeah. I do have it on my actual Kindle, but I haven't used my Kindle for a while. It's quite old as it is, and it's having to charge, and I don't think it's charging very well.
Oof.
Now Kindle's
You wanna
That's rough,
keep-
buddy.
Working through this, or...
Look, I think we can generally just agree stuff happened. It was probably interesting. However, the main point is, how did you kill Jenny Greenteeth again?
I don't know. Let me look.
Right, fuck it. I'm just gonna go with the one that looks weird. Wait. Did I skip a thing? Why am I so far down? Kane. No, that's the wrong one. Grendelkin. Not yet. Day off.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure,
Oh, that's why. Stupid fucking.
Oh no, Billy and Georgia just, shred Jenny.
Good for them.
Well, that's appropriate. Yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
Can't really blame them for doing
Understandable.
that. Yeah.
Understandable. Have a nice day. But yes, whatchamacallit? Oh, the next one's a funny one. Still looking, Mill?
Well, I'm just checking the fucking, Yeah, no, it was Harry giving CPR to Murphy, not the other way around.
Yeah, but she's the one who mentions that he tastes like punch because Jenny smashed his face into a punch bowl.
Yes.
So we got the whole thing kind of mixed up.
So there were two drownings.
Well,
Jenny
yeah,
Greenteeth was drowning.
First Jenny
Person.
Greenteeth drowned Murphy, then, Billy and Harry get involved. And then Jenny Greenteeth starts to drown Harry. Oh, now you come on, Kindle. Thank you, you stupid piece of shit. After I've done all that, now you come on. Yeah.
It hates you, Mel. It hates you so much.
Technology does hate me.
But yes, whatchamacallit?
No, I don't want to download something. I just want to go down. Let me go down.
Down to the bottom of the sea?
Yes. Alright, there's peace talks, there's battleground. Briefcases. Skin game.
Oh my god.
Bunch of Japanese books.
What is
That
it,
job.
Fuzzy?
Guys.
What?
Briefcases.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you not get that one?
No. No, I did not. As we've all established, autism.
Fair enough. I mean, look, we've already had the discussion about Paul Bearer.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, yes. So I at least take solace in the fact that I am not alone.
No, you're not alone. You might be alone in this group on this particular one. You're not alone on not getting fucking, like, puns, are they, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's also some amusement in this one with Harry having to put up with, I think, George's mother, who is an upper-class twit who does not think well of Billy or Harry.
Yeah, you gotta love those kinds. Fun people.
Mm-hmm.
But yes,
Oh no, George's stepmother.
even
that's
better.
somehow
Yeah,
even
no.
worse.
Yeah, because Harry goes on a big tirade about how she's clearly a trophy wife.
Mm-hmm.
Which is completely accurate, by the way.
Oh, I mean, by the way she reacts, is 100% accurate.
Mm-hmm. But yes. Anyways, moving on to the next story, which is it's my birthday too.
Set between White Knight Small Favor. It's, I believe, the first time Harry was celebrating Thomas's birthday.
I believe so. Yes.
And obviously, Molly is his apprentice. She's there, and Thomas is taking part in a LARP for some reason. I can't remember exactly why.
Like, for no particular reason, that's just what he's into.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not his first LARP. It basically establishes that he's part of an established LARP group.
Love that for him. Good for him.
Yeah, this is absolutely admirable quality in many ways. But
No,
beyond
I mean,
that,
Thomas says he's doing it as a favor for one of his hair salon employees.
Of course he is. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone believes him.
Everyone believes him, just like everyone believes the French accent.
Fair. There probably are a decent number of people who believe the French accent.
Oh, I'm sure all his
Yes.
clients do. I'm sure all his employees are like, boss, we know you're putting it on. You don't have to talk like that around us.
Probably. Still funnier that way.
But basically what happens is an old member of the LARP group who felt isolated ended up with Black Hawk vampires and decides to crash the party, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny how that just happens. Like, it's kind of terrifying that this is a world where that sort of thing just happens to people.
Yeah. Man, it wasn't even one of the good kind of vampires either. It was one of the corpse vampires.
Yeah, the Black Court is really fucking...
To be fair, of the vampires you can turn into, I'm pretty sure only one is the non-corpse kind, and they got genocided.
Yeah.
Well, we only know any real details about 3 of the courts, and, well...
Yeah,
the Red Court's kind of not a factor anymore.
We don't know much about the Jade Court, do we?
No.
We don't, but, like, we can infer they're Jiangshi.
Yeah. Which I am not super familiar with, if I'm being honest.
I am, as someone who reads a lot of Chinese web novels, let me tell you about Jiangshi.
We can save it for one of our streams while that you can chat.
Yeah,
over.
no, no, I wasn't actually going to talk about Jiangshi. I was just trying to...
Oh, you're welcome to do so at some point, just kind of off topic.
Oh yeah,
yes.
there's still the assumption that Harry and Thomas are going out. Oh god damn it.
Yeah, that's funny. I do like them playing into that.
Yeah.
What's even funnier is that it probably only convinces people more if they say they're brothers.
Yeah.
Because people... this is a trope I'm not a fan of, but it is something that comes up where, again, one of the weird things about Chinese web novels is that, like, about 70% of protagonists have a younger sister.
Oh,
but
no.
No. But it's, like, not in the Japanese fashion. Like, they...
Okay.
Yeah, they always tend to have a blood-related younger sister who is not presented as a love interest in any way. But, like, as an actual sibling. But there is always a misunderstanding that the younger sister is a love interest, and it's like... whenever someone says, no, that's my literal biological sister, they always go like, oh yeah, sure she is. Which is just...
So
it's a little weird, champ. Am I gonna lie? But, like, it's not the weirdest thing I've seen, so, you know.
I'm sure that threshold is vast.
Look, I saw some stuff over the weekend while doom scrolling that will haunt me forever.
Plus, you really should not be doom scrolling. It's bad for your health, mentally. And probably physically, I don't know.
Like, sometimes it's the call of the void, man.
That's an entirely different phenomenon, and you know it.
Yes, but the principle is the same, and you know it.
Yes, I do. Anyways, back to the actual story at hand.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's Black Court vampires. Harry calls in a favor because he did a job at the mall with some shoe fairies, I believe it was.
Right, and the shoe fairies later moved to the Carpenter household.
That's funny.
They do?
Yes.
All right, that was the one I didn't know about.
Yes, so the shoe fairies moved to the Carpenter household because they can't live in the mall anymore for legal reasons. But they are aware that the Carpenters are, like, good people. I'm pretty sure they are still living in the Carpenter household as of, like, current book. But they're just, like, low-key about it because that's kind of their whole bag.
Yeah. Cobs, that's what they're called, cobs.
Cobblers. Or are they called just cobs?
They're just called cobs.
Oh. That feels inappropriate somehow.
They also talk in Germanic accents, so...
999. The shoes are not like that. The shoes must be like this. I probably offended Lore with that.
I mean, you probably offended some Germans with that in general, but yeah.
You've offended I think Lore is one of the few people that wouldn't offend, given our conversations with him. I think he would find it funny.
Maybe. But yeah, what else is there to say on this one? It's a pretty fun little
yeah, I mean,
romp.
it's a funny funny end to the conflict as well, because Harry, I think, spits garlic powder in her face and is like, look, if I'm ever not running my mouth, then there's something wrong, and you should know that. If you know about me, you should know I'm always running my mouth, and if I'm not, then there's something up.
It's the Spider-Man thing. It's the Spider-Man thing. You know the Spider-Man thing, right? Where Spider-Man's always wisecracking?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Spider-Man is not cracking wise, something has gone terribly wrong.
Yes. I remember one comic in which Spider-Man just does not talk the whole time, and all his rogues just get progressively more terrified of him. And to the point where one of them just outright surrenders when he realizes Spider-Man isn't wisecracking. And it turned out he just had a cold and didn't want to talk because his voice was fucked.
The other thing, again...
Which is funny in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, it is a reminder that, and this applies to Dresden as well, if you think about them for a second, both Spider-Man and Dresden, and just, like, on a conceptual level, just think about them for a bit, you realize... oh, these people are freaking terrifying.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
They're capable of doing horrible, horrible things. And the fact that they choose not to is something of a miracle and also a credit to them.
But yeah, the other thing from this one is Harry intentionally burns down another building. With the excuse of, hey, it was already on fire. It was burning down anyway. I might as well add to it.
Exactly. If it's going to burn down anyway,
and he'd likely take the blame, and he'd likely take the blame for it anyway.
Might as well get that satisfaction.
That's true.
But yes, and after this one is Hero. Or is it?
All right, I'm just gonna
Horo.
Google this as a pronunciation.
Horo?
No, not last epoch.
Horo.
Pronunciation.
Look, I'm not great with Germanic words.
No, it's fine. Is this not more
Which is funny
Scandinavian?
Yeah, I was gonna say, English is technically a Germanic language. Technically.
Yeah.
Germanic languages are one of the language families in the trench coat.
Yes. A little bit of Romance language in there too, and a little bit of Gaelic.
I think it's just Hiorot.
Hierot.
Hiorot. Like, I think...
Hierot.
I
Hierot.
am sorry that you haven't realized that the only way to win this game is to not play.
Yes,
And not
the
even
fifth
try.
story in the collection features Dresden and Sigrun Gard saving an innocent woman from a Grendelkin, basically, is what it's called.
Yes.
This could lead into a very interesting conversation about the whole something Guard also makes a point about the Virgin complex issue that we talked about the other day. Like, you get what part of it I'm talking about, right?
Think so, but feel free to elaborate.
The fact that Guard brings up a very good point is that, well, the fact that Grendel's... First of all, there are very few times when I advocate for genocide. And the Grendelkin as a species are sadly one of, well, not even sadly, it's just how it is. This is one of those times.
All right, are we gonna put the red flag up now?
Might as well.
So,
Yes.
Content warning for sexual assault, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
That would be the content.
The red flag is up. If that is something you do not want to hear about, mute now, and we will take the red flag
Lower the
off
flag.
when we are done. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the Grendelkin basically kidnaps this woman to
procreate.
yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, so the Grendelkin they exclusively procreate with virgin human women. There's like no neater way of saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the reason for this is that that's the only way they can procreate. But if that's the only way you can procreate, and the Grendelkin are basically I'm not a fan of this trope, as a general rule. The whole... all, like, a species that is, like, always...
Chaotic evil.
Chaotic evil, yeah. It's
Yeah,
not
I'm not a fan of
something
it
I'm
either.
ever a fan of. But when it is the case, like, just nuke them, is my 2
Nuke 'em
cents
from
on
over,
that.
it's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
No, I get
I
that.
wish that wasn't the case, but it is, so that's what I'm advocating.
Yeah.
No, I forget. She, the one was largely unharmed when they retrieved her, right?
Yes.
Yes, because it apparently required, like, there was a ritualistic element to it, and they just hadn't gotten to that yet.
Using the words of Harry, they'd interrupted him in the middle of foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, look.
Gotta love sometimes you gotta make light of a shitty situation just to
Yes,
not,
I know, but
deal
like...
with soul-crushing rage and terror and disgust.
And depression, yes.
Yes.
No, I get it, but at the same time, too soon, Harry.
Sorry, what was that?
I was gonna say maybe like a little bit too soon, or like maybe a bit too much, rather.
Mayhaps. But yes, fortunately they do rescue the woman and destroy the Grendelkin by, caving in the entire cavern upon it.
Mm-hmm. And hey, Harry hit him with a force spell right in the fire extinguisher.
Yes, he did make a point of the penis being the size of a fire extinguisher, which is just...
Terrifying.
I understand why, I just wish I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
Are we done talking about the Grendelkin's, like, proclivities?
Yes.
Alright.
I think so.
The stuff with Harry and Guard though is really interesting because
Yes.
this is the most we see from Guard so far at this point in the story.
Yes, I mean this is where it's confirmed that she is, one of,
A Valkyrie,
the
yes.
Valkyries. You know, one of the several hundred years old Valkyries.
Yep. And she is accordingly very badass.
Very badass, in fact, yes. I think this is also the first time we're properly introduced to Mulks. I think they might have been mentioned once or twice in one of the fairy books, but this is the first time we actually come across them.
Uh-huh.
Right, it is. I believe that is the case, yes.
But yeah, no, it's very interesting look into Guard, though, and the stuff with the Grendelkin aside, it's a pretty neat story.
But yeah, this is I don't think considered part of the red flag, but
Oh no, I think I know which story you're referring to.
Well, no, yeah, oh no, I was that's another story entirely that I was going to refer to, but no. In this story, they do make an interesting point about the fact that even in like ye olde and ancient medieval times, people were still banging.
Yeah.
Yep. Like wedlock wasn't like. Not being married was not a barrier to people getting it on.
Yeah, the only effect it really had was the fact that people would be a bit more discreet about it. But the idea is that, yeah, just because people were obsessed with the idea of purity doesn't mean that it was actually practical to uphold, yeah. And which is getting into the whole discussion about purity and virginity as a thing. But like, yeah, also, this is the only time in the series we see Mac interacting with people willingly outside of his own bar.
Right.
There's a point where he does it not willingly. We should make that clear. He is kidnapped at one point, but that isn't without his consent. This is the only time he consents in the series that he consents to leaving his bar.
And it's for a beer competition.
Appropriate.
Oh, I believe this is my cue to bounce for the reasons I stated for a moment. I will be back shortly.
All right.
Cool. Do you want to move on to Day Off then?
We probably should. We are actually taking a lot longer than first thought with these.
Yes.
But Day Off is one that I really want to discuss because it's so fucking funny.
Day Off is probably the funniest one in this whole collection.
I mean, this has the funniest, like, one of the funniest jokes, I think, in the series.
Yes, but we will get to that. Let's talk about the rest of the stuff first because
I mean, it's near the start, to be fair, but the basic plot of it is that Dresden has a day off that gets ruined by Molly, Andy, and Kirby, as well as some idiots in hoods.
Some wannabe warlocks, basically.
Yeah. Let me get to the description of them. People in black spilled out with neither the precision of a professional team of hitters nor the calm swagger of competent thugs. They looked like I'd caught them in the middle of eating sack lunches. They were all wearing mostly black and mostly goth wear, which meant a lot of velvet with a little leather, rubber, and PVC to spice things up. All of them carried wands and staves and crystals dangling from chains, and all of them had deadly serious expressions on their faces. And they're coming after him because because Harry removed a curse they put on a woman in New Orleans, and Harry is just astounded that there was actually a curse.
Yeah. He just like low diffed the curse because it was barely even a factor to him, barely an inconvenience.
I mean, he literally says it was mostly to make her feel better and to show the Paranettas how to do it in the future.
Yeah.
And then they say, defend yourself, so Harry just pulls his 44.
He pulls a literal hand cannon out.
And he's just like, I'm a-fixin' to defend myself.
And then, of course, they flee.
Yeah.
Because, big gun.
You losers don't have enough magic between you to turn cereal into breakfast.
Yep.
And then he just like, wait, what time is it? Oh, it's after midnight? Yeah, I'm off the clock. You guys can just fuck off.
Yep. It's a fun story.
But yes, then his day off is ruined by Molly arriving to brew some potions. Which goes horribly.
Naturally. How else would it go?
Then Andy and Kirby arrive. Andy, I believe, had asked for his help the night before, which he had said, no, I'm on my day off, sorry, but turns out they have been infected by psychic fleas, because they did the banging while they were in werewolf form. Bad idea. Very bad idea.
It does not go well.
Psychophagic mites, that's what it was, what they were called. And it was influencing them towards their more primal desires, let's say. Which caused some issues, because they were doing some very much not PG-13 activities in front of Harry. Andy started coming on to Harry, which pissed off Kirby and started a whole thing. Mouse got involved, animals chasing each other, Molly creating acid that may have been eating through concrete.
Also, you gotta love how, going back a little bit, you gotta love how Harry is just like the biggest killjoy about the tabletop game he plays with the alphas.
Yeah. I just want to get through the end because we're very nearly at it, but we will go back to that because it is very funny as well. Then the pipe bomb arrives.
Oh yes, the pipe bomb.
Turns out it was actually a smoke bomb with the note, next time you interfere with me, more than smoke will interfere with you. And it's just like, what the fuck? And then Lucio arrives.
Yep.
I think Molly is topless due to acid by this point as well.
Yeah.
So there's two naked women in the apartment, or two at the very least semi-naked women, and a naked guy, and Mouse, and Smoke, and Lucio just arrives and just like, what the fuck?
It's not what it looks like. It's not what it looks like. What is it supposed to look like?
I can't imagine for the life of me what it does appear to be. Yeah. But yes. Harry complaining that a fireball doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It's like taking a physicist to a Star Trek movie.
Yep.
And he who kills the cheer springs for beer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's a really funny one. It's definitely a lot more,
lighthearted.
Lighthearted and chill.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see if I can, because Butcher actually gave like whatchamacallit, like not preludes, I guess, but like little descriptions of how they came to be. So yeah, this was basically meant for an anthology based solely on comedy.
Yeah.
Which, you know, very much makes sense.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is by far the most comedic story in the collection.
Because, yeah...
Like, there's...
No, go ahead.
There's a lot of, like, totally rather dark ones in this collection, too.
Yeah.
Also, I think a good third of them take place between Small Favor and Turncoat.
Yes. From
Day Off, Back Up, The Warrior, and Last Call all take place between books 10 and 11.
Yeah, and that is just over a third, because there's only 11 stories. And those are some of the longer ones as well, to be fair.
Yep. I'm going to look at the page counts on them real quick, because that is usually informative. So yeah, oh yeah, no. All of those are 35 plus pages.
No, those
the only one before...
Go ahead.
Yeah. It's My Birthday 2 and Here are also similar length, but yeah, the later ones are all on the longer side. Aftermath is the longest one, like, quite a bit.
Yeah.
But we will get to that one when we get to that one. But yeah,
So, I mean, Backup, which is the next one, is technically a novelette, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
And this is really getting into the world building of the Dresden Files, because this is getting into something that Dresden has no part of. Because if he did become a part of it, it would all fall to pieces instantly.
Yes. Now, I forget the name of the organization that Thomas is loosely involved with.
It's the Oblivion War.
Well, that's the name of the conflict. I don't know what the name of the organization is.
Venator.
Off the top of my head.
The Venatori, I think.
Venatori, that's it.
So because obviously we've talked about the Venatori in reference to the main series, or the main plot line. I believe there's two forms of the Venatori. There's the more famous ones that are helping the White Council out with the war against the Red Court, and then there are the secret Venatori who are doing this.
Yes.
And as it turns out, Thomas and Lara are these Venators.
Yep.
Or these Venatori. I think, yeah, basically they're the only ones who, or certainly Lara is the only one that Thomas knows. And yeah, it's basically making sure things that, because basically the whole thing of the Dresden Files is that attention and worship gives things power. That's in part why I think, for example, the Christian God is so powerful. Maybe a different example, but trying to think of a better one to use. I'm just going to go a little bit into spoilers here. We meet Odin in Changes, don't we?
Yep.
Is that about Odin's meet?
What was that?
What's that about Odin's meat?
No, that was Hierot. We're talking about the Oblivion War now, and I'm just trying to get into the general, gist of how the Dresden Files works in terms of power.
Right, and look, this is the one where I was gonna cook. Have you gotten past the red flag point yet?
No, we've literally just started discussing it.
Okay.
As I said, I've been trying to set it up, doing it badly because I can't think of off the top of my head a being that would apply. I think Odin is probably the best one because he basically went, all right, my power as Odin is waning, so I'm wearing a few different hats, and I'm getting power from those because he's getting power from Monarch Securities, and spoiler warning for later books, I think he's also Santa. And he obviously gets power from that. As a result, there are some beings that if they got more, popularity, it would be quite bad. And
so it's one of the fundamental misunderstandings of the White Council. They have a lot of those. Because the more we go through the series, the more we realize that wizards in general and the White Council specifically are ridiculously underpowered. Like, they are kind of, very weak in general by the standards of the real heavy hitters. With the exception of maybe the Senior Council, none of whom are, entirely, it's very suspicious whether or not they're, entirely human. With the exception of the Senior Council, basically, the fact that Harry is regularly outclassed in terms of weight class by everyone he meets, and yet apparently he is one of the strongest wizards on the White Council should really tell you something about the general power level of wizards.
Yep.
And as a consequence, there's also an information gap. See, the reason the White Council tries to spread as many forbidden books as possible is that for most of the beings they're familiar with that require summoning, the more people try to summon them, the less likely they are to respond. However, they are missing the piece that some entities, now there is an overlap, but the thing is the White Council isn't entirely wrong because there are places where it doesn't overlap. And there are places where it does overlap. So they could theoretically run a balancing act there, but there are some beings who the more people know about them, the more powerful they are. And the easier the more likely they are to be summoned. So it is not necessarily malice, but it's a classic Hanlon's razor. There's a lot of places where the White Council can be malicious, but this is not one of them. Anyway, carry on, please.
Okay, so I've gotten to the bit where Thomas explains. So beings, old gods basically need a certain amount of mortal belief to connect them to the mortal world.
Yes.
And if they are forgotten in a permanent enough way, they get sealed off into basically oblivion, forever lost, can't touch the mortal world.
Yeah, and once all records of them have been thoroughly erased and there's no chance of them coming back, then the archive will delete the last remaining records from her memory. Which, the archive is basically the head of the Venatori in the Oblivion War.
Yep.
But yes, so basically the story is Thomas's perspective and him trying to prevent Harry from, inadvertently, fucking over the the Venatori by discovering information on one of these eldritch abominations that would, you know...
Because the point is that the White Council isn't wrong that publishing rituals makes them less likely to work, but the point of it is to increase mortal knowledge of the beings themselves rather than just the rituals to summon them, to attach them more firmly to the mortal world. And the White Council, that would be a very bad idea. That would be a very, very bad idea.
So yeah, basically the villain of the story is basically planning to exploit this weakness in the White Council's logic.
Apparently, this form of the Venatori even tried to get rid of the fairies.
That didn't work out so well.
Unfortunately, because of Gutenberg and the Grimms.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I wonder if the world would be better or worse off for that.
In hindsight, with what we know, probably worse, but... Well,
not on the outsider front, not on the outer gate front, because there are replacements waiting in the wings for that.
Yeah.
There's also
is the Fae part of the mortal world? Like,
no, the Fae are from the Never Never.
Yeah, is the Never Never part of the mortal world?
Teetering on the brink, yeah.
Yeah.
No, Mel makes a good point. There is a lot of ambiguity with the Fae.
True.
Because it could just be that they're, you know, locked in the Never Never, which in that case, probably a good thing. Their incursions into the mortal realm don't tend to be the best. Don't tend to go amazingly well.
Well, we'll get more into the deeper lore of the Fae when we talk about Cold Days.
But yes, the other thing that happened is Thomas confronted one of the Stygian Sisterhood, who is one of the beings that is trying to get this, what is it, the Lexicon Marlos published. And the Stygian Sisterhood does a weird thing. They slice out parts of their human personalities they don't want and replace them with pieces torn from inhuman minds. Not fun. But basically what she's done is she's gone to Harry, you know, the old, oh no, I need help act, which, you know, Harry is going to fucking eat up.
He does fall for it every single time.
Every single time. Kidnapped kid, go to find the kid, find the book as well. Harry does the White Council thing and publishes it.
Literally, first book in the series played out that way.
Yeah. And, you know, Bob's your uncle. The other thing that this Stygian sister did was she put an illusion on Thomas's face. To A, slow him down, and to B, make him look like the picture of the villain that she showed Harry, which is obviously gonna, you know, not go well for Thomas if he comes across Harry.
We should also note that this is Thomas does say the immortalized and probably one of the best lines in the series to open this story. My brother is Gandalf on crack and an IV of Red Bull.
Yep.
Yes.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, but Thomas, knowing all of this, having discussed it with Bob, knowing all this, decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna play along with her bullshit. And he just goes, like...
He goes, well, to be fair... He's just LARPing.
Yeah, no, he goes full ham, and Harry's like, oh my fucking god. For God's sake. He doesn't even let Thomas get through his big speech. He just fucking hits him with a force spell. And then the lights go out, Thomas fights a Stygian sister, and
And then now we will put up our red flag.
Yeah.
Give me a second. Red flag is now up for sexual assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, again.
It is like... Isn't Thomas, like, super drained at this point?
Yeah.
He is very drained, and he does rape the sister to death, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have
I'm not
done
gonna
that
sugarcoat
if he didn't have, like... He didn't have full faculties available to him at that point because of the thing, the parasite, basically.
Because he'd also been poisoned at this point, I think.
Yeah, so it was basically his only method of recovering.
Yeah.
Still not very pretty.
No, it's still not good. I mean, to be fair, you mentioned the opening lines of the story, Fuzzy. After he talks about Harry, he says, "My name is Thomas Wraith, and I'm a monster."
Yeah. That is kind of what the White Court is. Like, they are incubi and succubi, effectively. And when they lose control of themselves, well, not pretty things happen.
Can I... Okay.
Some of them do it willingly, too.
Most of them do it willingly. Important to remember that. Is it still part of the red flag to discuss some of the story considerations?
Probably safer rather than sorry.
Okay, there is an inherent issue in this, in that did it have to be a sisterhood?
Not necessarily.
Thomas says that apparently looking attractive helps them with their bullshit.
That doesn't... Men can also look attractive. See, this is...
Well, Fuzzy, here's the thing. For most of human history, men have had control of media.
Yes, I know. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to discuss the in-universe justifications.
So, apparently... Okay, yes, you're right. It didn't need to be women. It didn't need to be a sisterhood, but...
Yes.
It...
From a Doylean perspective, not the Watsonian.
Doylist, yes.
Look, the words are similar enough that they might as well be the same.
But yes, from a Doylist perspective, it doesn't really seem particularly needed for it to go this particular way.
Yeah, it did not have to go that way.
That being said, Butcher does do I don't want to say good job. I don't even want to say decent job, but he at least does an adequate job justifying it from a Watsonian perspective.
Yes, he does justify it somewhat from a Watsonian perspective, but the fact of the matter is that from a Doylean perspective, what was the point of this? That's what I want to ask.
I believe the point of it was to showcase just how much the his own what's the word for it? Thomas is as much of a good person as he is compared to the vast majority of White Court vampires. Thomas is still beholden to his nature as a White Court vampire.
Yes.
And I get the feeling that wouldn't come across quite as well if his victim was a man. Because of how a lot of audiences view male victimhood of crimes like this versus female victimhood of crimes like that.
But there is also another perspective to that, which is it might have in some ways been more effective from the point of view that because people are more likely to be dismissive of male victimhood from certain points of view, he could have made it a point that neither person in this situation consented. That could have been where he went with it. He didn't, but he could have. And that's kind of the thing that sticks in my craw a little bit.
Yes. At the end of the day, it's an authorial choice Butcher made that is understandably a bit contentious.
It's not one I agree with at all. There are ways to showcase the point that he's trying to showcase without having what it essentially comes down to a token victim. Especially given the context of internalized systematic misogyny and like the general poor treatment of victims in and survivors in general.
Yes. It's a very dicey topic, and honestly, I still do think that Butcher handles it better than some other authors have.
He does, but that...
It's a low bar, I know.
We should always remember that there are some topics for which the bar is very low.
It's still not as contentious a topic as slavery in anime. Good God.
The what now?
Slavery in anime.
Oh God, yeah. Like, good thing we still have the red flag up. Now we can take down the red flag, but I'm about to go off on a rant, and I want everyone to hear it. Don't worry, it's not.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna avoid anything triggering.
Okay, go for it. Go nuts.
Mill, has the flag been taken down?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. This is an open letter to one Jimothy Butcher. Stop trying to redeem Lara Wraith. Please, for the love of God, stop trying to make her a good guy. She's not a good guy. There's very little you can do to make me believe that she's a good guy. It's just too much. And it started with this short story. It started with the fact that Lara Wraith is an executive member of the Venatori. This is where Butcher started planting the seeds of, oh, but maybe she's not, like, all bad, right? No. No, she is all bad. Like, the things she has done unwillingly are all well and good. But even after gaining agency and gaining control, the things she's done after that, not much different from the things she did before. And the fact that the majority of her life she was doing it under coercion does not excuse it if she doesn't change her behavior after the coercion ends. Now, granted, you can make an argument that there's psychological imprinting and like a lot of like trauma and complexes, but I am firmly of the opinion that trauma does not give you the right to inflict that or worse trauma on others, which is her entire thing. And it started here, and it really came to a head in the Peace Talk Battlegrounds duology, and it is one of the things that has turned me off from the series the most. All right, now don't leave me hanging here. Please comment. I do not want to just rant to the void.
What I would say is I don't think it's really necessarily treating Lara as a good person. or trying to get to the point of Lara is a good person.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that it's just a way to give her nuance in depth rather than just making her a cartoonish cartoonist boss bitch
X-Demon?
bad guy type character, you know? Like, you can make a character more layered and complex while still acknowledging that they are an overall bad person, even if they do have standards. Because remember, a lot of the villains in the Dresden Files do have standards. Not all of them. Some of them are just absolute irredeemable monsters with no morality whatsoever. But Lara isn't one of those.
I mean,
Yes.
basically...
But at the same time, the things she does are
Oh,
among
she's
the
done
more
some stuff that's
monstrous.
pretty far beyond the pale, but that doesn't make her, like, as vile as her father, for example.
No, the only difference between Lara and her father is the... I don't want to bring it up because of the grooming, but there's literally only one thing that her father does that she doesn't.
What, abuse family members?
Yes. That's literally the only difference between the two.
Regardless, I get where you're coming from, Fuzzy, but I feel like it's not quite the same thing.
And this is not the place for an extended discussion about Lara, not yet.
Yes,
I would-
yes,
No,
the
we will
battleground.
have discussions about
That
her.
duology is going to be where I'm going to really pop up, but I want to like
the last thing
lay the groundwork.
the last thing I'm gonna say on it is before I, subscribe to your podcast or your viewpoint or your newsletter or whatever. I want to see 12 months.
Yes.
I want to see how that is going to be the real test.
Yes.
Because that is
What
probably
is
going to
that
happen.
again? Remind me.
What was that?
Remind me what that is again.
That is the next Dresden book.
That is the next Dresden
Is that
book.
what it's called? Has it,
12
wait,
months.
I didn't
That
know
is-
the name had been confirmed.
Yeah, no, that is the next book. That is covering the 12 months between the end of Battleground and up to Harry and Lara's supposed wedding. Spoiler warning, I guess, for that. But that is, as I said, that would be my take for now. That is going to be the real test. One last thing to say about this one. Harry telling Thomas about the fucking events of the book from his perspective, just like, what the shit is going on? That's funny. Let's move on to one that is far more... less morally complex, I guess? There is still some moral complexity to it. Because this is The Warrior. This is the one that's focused on Michael post Small Favor. And this is the one focused on the extremist warrior priest who decides that Harry can't be trusted with the swords.
Which is not entirely inaccurate in many ways.
I mean, his rationale is that
Right.
Harry hasn't given Fidelicius to anyone, and now he's got Amaracius, which means Sonia and Esperacius is all alone, and he decides that Harry is not doing a good job. He's not handing the swords out. He's trying to keep them so that evil can prosper. So he's going to take them. Unfortunately,
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, the way he decides to do this is, in the end, by kidnapping one of Michael's daughters.
Mm-hmm.
You really shouldn't have done that.
Michael is probably
that.
Michael is probably the angriest we've ever seen him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm including
Oh no,
after
he
this
goes
point as
full
well.
Papa Wolf.
Yeah, and it's Harry that has to talk Michael down, which is generally a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
But this was as much. Well, there was two goals for Butcher in this, based on what he wrote beforehand, which is, A, he wanted people to see that Michael's ending was not so bad, because he's still alive. He still gets to spend time with his family, which is true. The other thing,
Michael's just chilling.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's like living his best life. Like,
yeah,
there's
exactly.
very little
Good for him.
Actually, I mean, to be fair, there's probably a not insignificant amount of divine intervention going on.
Oh, 100%.
To specifically ensure that.
100%. But, you know, the other thing Butcher wanted to do is the effect of the little actions. Because there is a conversation between Harry and Mr. Sunshine later in the book, at the end of the story. Basically saying that Harry actually did more with the things that he didn't even realize than by stopping Father Douglas.
Which, again, that's kind of like in any story that takes like the idea of an omnipotent, benevolent god as its like baseline. Any story like that will generally have that thesis that it's not so much that God works in mysterious ways, which is what a lot of people quote, but more that it's there's no such thing as, because the universe is a closed system and an omnipotent benevolent deity has access to the entire system at once, it's trivial to manipulate like the long scale with just tiny actions. It's the whole butterfly effect weaponized, really.
And
it is an interesting take on works in mysterious ways.
Well, the point is that it's all about free will. God, I'm quoting directly from Uriel here. God wants you to have good things and a good life, but he won't gift wrap them for you. And I just say, I wish, please just use they. Surely God is not gendered.
Look, Butcher has, it's
I know,
Jim Butcher.
I know Butcher is like, what, 50 at this point? In his 50s? He's not up to date on gender, but
he is. So Butcher is very progressive in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Right? Including in many ways that are important and that matter. That is probably not one of them.
I get it, but it's a little pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, no, like the entire premise of gendering God and is an inherently flawed premise.
Yeah.
It's just like that's not how metaphysics works.
Yeah. But anyway, yes.
Like, you think about it for like even a minute.
God won't gift wrap a good things and a good life for you. You have to choose the actions that lead you to that life. And also, he says that the conflict between light and darkness rages on so many levels that you literally could not understand it all. Not yet, anyway. Sometimes that battlefield is a literal one, sometimes it's a great deal more nebulous and metaphorical, at which point he goes into the ways that Dresden has actually influenced people's lives in a positive direction. He saved a girl from being hit by a car. He also brought attention to the bruise that she got from an abusive father to the child's mother, sparing the child from abuse and the mother from alcoholism.
realize the impact her actions have, basically.
He confronted a drunk electrician, which meant that he survived. Because drunk electricians, they don't tend to do well. They don't tend to do well.
I don't think there are favorable things said about their survival rate. No.
Yes, but
there's kind of like let's like a logical conclusion of working with high voltages.
But yes, so he saved that guy's life. In 2 months, apparently, his 4-year-old daughter is going to be diagnosed with cancer and require a marrow transplant, and her father is the only viable donor. And the struggle that they go through is going to leave the family stronger and happier than they've ever been. He also just made a teenage girl feel better about herself.
Speaking of the electrician, by the way, Harry Dresden saving the world one act of random destruction at a time.
And I'm fairly sure Michael is like, could you not have thought of a better way to do that? No, that's not how I do things.
That's not how I roll.
No, here's the thing. There probably was a better way to do it, but that would require thinking.
Look, Harry can think. He just often chooses not to.
He's a very smart person. He just chooses not to be most of the time. It's free will, right?
Yeah.
Just because God has given him a good brain doesn't mean he's obligated to use it. He can exercise his free will to not use his brain.
Speaking of which, you're trying to build the Lord God Almighty.
Yeah.
No, I'm building you.
Where is it?
To be fair, I think it's probably a non-zero chance he could have gotten something out of billing God.
To be fair, in the end, he did get something out of Uriel.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he's got that. He's got that now, hasn't he?
Oh,
does he have
yeah, he's got Soulfire because this is after
Small Favor. In Small Favor.
Yeah, this is after Small Favor. So yeah, he's been given his reward, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least for turning down Lashiel.
The issue, though, however, is that the U.S. government does not accept Soulfire as viable
it does
tender.
not. It does not. But you know.
Really quite rude of them, honestly.
But the point of it is that Uriel was making the point to Harry that Michael might not be, on the front lines against Denarians and demons and all that sort of stuff, but that doesn't mean he's still not fighting the good fight.
I mean, given Michael Carpenter and the fact that he is very possibly just white Jesus Christ, Jesus. In the apocalyptic trilogy, you think Dresden is going to run into some guy who introduces himself as Josh?
Possibly.
And then they're just going to, have a nice chat in the apocalypse, and then he's going to have a moment of realization afterwards. Or, Michael's going to say, yeah, his actual name was Joshua. So,
I mean, I liked how Red Dwarf did it because they went into the past and met somebody called Jesus and treated him like the Son of God. But it turns out quite a few people were called Jesus back then, and they were just talking to a rando.
Yep.
They put the weight of the world on some rando shoulders. But yeah, we're trying to hurry things along a little bit because we've been talking for an hour and a half on side jobs alone. But
maybe we bit off a bit more we can chew with side jobs.
It is definitely a very interesting short story and definitely goes a lot into the workings of the Christian God in this universe.
I mean, it's like well, first of all, probably it would be more appropriate to call them the Abrahamic God. Because most sane members of Abrahamic religions do agree that their religions are all related. Yes, thank you for that justification, Jack. And in addition, it's also important to remember one thing is that the implication does seem to be that this is the god in question is not, in fact, limited to the Abrahamic faiths. And is, in fact, the, like, omnipotent deity who created the universe as... That's what I'm trying to get at, is that, like, in the Dresden Files universe, we're pretty sure that the Abrahamic God is, in fact, capital G God across the board.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I've gotten from most of the interactions therein.
Anyway, we should move on to the next one. Last call.
Are we gonna have time for ghost stories? Should we just
Possibly
end
not.
it early?
We might just have
Yeah,
to
I
talk
think
about side
I
jobs.
think at this yeah, we should end it on side jobs, I think.
I think we're going to run into this problem more and more with the later Dresden books as well, because
Because
there's
there's
just
a
a
lot,
lot to
yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about.
they're just they're dense and we tend to go long.
Yep.
So basically, basic plot summary of this: fight happens in Max, and they uncover a plot involving tainted beer and handmaidens of. I never managed to pronounce this guy's name right. Jack, do you want to take it over?
Dionysus?
Yeah, that guy.
He would be behind tainted beer, wouldn't he?
Also,
I mean,
I
he
don't.
is the god of revelry and wine.
Yeah, I don't think it's sus because it's Sius.
No, Dionysus.
There's an I in the
S-U-S.
last four letters.
It's
No?
like sus with a bit of a Y-ish lilt. It depends on the spelling, honestly. I don't know what the original Greek pronunciation or spelling is, but
You
like I've
Americans
seen it
are always
spelled
taking
both
I's out of words.
ways. Don't involve me in this. Canada uses the British spellings for everything.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now.
We spell it the proper way. Aluminium.
It is spelt out in Greek, Dionysos. There is no I in the last syllable.
I believe the intention of the IU is to be pronounced as Sius rather than Sius. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, but the original Greek spelling is Dionysos. And that got basically anglicized to Dionysus.
Okay, so it turns out both spellings are incorrect in terms of pronunciation.
Yes, it's Dionysos.
Can we just call him Bacchus?
Sure.
I think
Funny
it
enough,
might
they
be
are
like
called
legit- different guy.
Bacchanalians in some traditions.
No, but like, depending on the context of because of how mantles work in the Dresden Files universe, that might legit be a different guy.
Yes. Regardless, Last Call is a funny story.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's actually I think it. I don't
It wants to
fucking
get
know.
all
This is all going into fucking like Greek and Roman gods, and that's not my area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
That's way too early for me.
It's like it's not an area of expertise, but by virtue of the fact that the Greco-Roman pantheon has some of the most media exposure, I feel like most people can pretty reliably talk about the Greco-Roman pantheon.
I can. I know a lot about it. I was a Percy Jackson kid growing up, so I did a lot of research on the Greek myths. Though that might have actually come before I read Percy Jackson. I don't remember which came first.
Anyway, for this story, this is the second one focused on Mac and beer, or at least starts with Mac and beer.
I'm starting to wonder if beer is the entire reason he retired.
Well,
very-
that's
it's-
getting into a discussion on who Mac actually is, which I actually had a short discussion about that in TFS. So,
In the Discord, yeah.
in the
Really?
TFS, yeah. So
I didn't know there were any Dresden heads in the TFS
Yeah,
Discord.
there are a few.
Well, we can talk about that off stream, though.
I mean, I will just quickly, if I can, yeah. So the theories that I saw that were plausible, spoilers for Battleground and Peace Dogs and Cold Days, I think are the main ones. That he's a Watcher Angel that inspired the Prometheus story and gave humanity fire. Due to his skill with a grill, always serving warm beer, and he drives a Pontiac Firebird.
That's funny. That would be a bit too on the nose, honestly, for my taste, but funny if true.
The other one is Mananan MacLear, Irish god of the afterlife that had a river of beer flowing through it.
Good old Manana MacLear.
Or Goibniu, Celtic god of smithing, or Celtic god of smithing, sorry. Smithing, brewing, and hospitality that cooked steaks from an immortal cow.
I feel bad for the cow unless it was consensual, in which case...
Yeah, it might have been
You do
consensual.
you.
It's the Irish, who knows? Or the Celts.
I feel like that's an important distinction, but I'm not quite sure how.
It probably
worse.
is, but, you know,
Look, you as a British person saying that is maybe not the best look.
I know, but we've already done the damage. What am I gonna do now?
I don't know.
We've already
He's right, but
we've
he
already
shouldn't.
taken them over. What more could I do? Taken them over and destroyed their heritage. There's not much I can do to ruin that. Anyway, so yeah, basically, some, what are they called again? Where is it? Come on. Gotta be here somewhere. Bassarids. Basically, beat up Mac, take his beer, and, fucking, whatchamacallit, taint it, because... Let me see. I think they're just trying to get their god back into, you know,
Back into fashion.
back into fashion.
Back in vogue.
Apparently, the Bassarids' European sisters have been doing what she's been doing over in Europe in football matches, which
That would explain a lot, yes.
there's
That
a
will
lot,
explain hooligans, yes.
yeah, there's a lot of hooliganism in football. Basically, trying to get them to drink more.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's... Not sure if there's a huge amount to say about this one. It's just another beer themed story. And
Nothing wrong with beer
does-
themes.
they also end up at
He does
they
do
end up
those
at the
on occasion,
United
yeah.
they end up at the United Center, not Wrigley Field. I got that one wrong. But also, there is, I feel, a lot more ship tease between Murphy and Harry than in the main series in this anthology.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which
think
gives
it's
the
some-
last entry in the anthology that much more oomph.
Yeah. But I mean, there's just
right. Oh God, I just remembered what this. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yes.
No.
But yes. The point is that because this is little anthologies, there is actually quite a bit more fucking what is it like Harry and Murphy out on the case again.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, there are a lot more things to worry about in the main series. Here, they're just doing odd jobs. They're doing side jobs, you may say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes the cases they take on are quite brief as well.
Yeah, you might say some brief cases merit some mention as well, yes.
But do we want to move on to the, I believe,
The penultimate
one, which again we might have to bring up the red flag for this one.
Love hurts.
Yeah, love hurts. So basically, the general plot summary is a red court vampire tries to create artificial love between people to remove the influence of, or to reduce the influence of the white court, and Harry and Murphy have to put a stop to it because it's causing people to commit suicide because they can tell that they're being mind whammied but don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some collateral splash damage in this one, and it's pretty fucked up. Yeah. You want to just go into the fucked up stuff real quick before we toss up the red flag?
So toss up the red flag now.
Yeah.
Might as well just get it out of the way.
So content warning for incest and suicide.
Yep.
Oh God, I forgot it was that bad.
Yeah. Red flag is now up for that, so mute. Yeah, so the one that really gets this going, that gets Harry brought in, is the fact that yes, the last victims are a brother and sister, who eventually, commit suicide.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, because like the whole scene is really disturbing. Because like, hey, wait, these two share the last name, but there's no wedding rings. That they're not married. Oh no, oh dear. Yeah, which is yeah, not a fun reveal. It's very
It really isn't.
yeah, but it does. Most of the rest of the story is on the lighter side too, which just makes the mood whiplash that much more.
Yeah, it's a bit of an
I don't know if it's
awkward-
whiplash so much as just a transition into. Yeah, we're gonna step away from that stuff. That's very dark and not fun. So let's just do something lighter. Let's go somewhere lighter.
So take down the red flag.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, basically after a while they track basically the maybe not last known location, but the common location between the three couples to a state fair. And they start investigating around there. They go on some rides. After one of the rides, they realize they're actually acting like a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly they realize, hey, they've been mind whammied.
Is that the technical term?
Mind whammied? I believe so.
Just making sure for the audience at home.
I mean, I'm fairly sure it's the term that is used relatively often in Dresden. I mean, do you have another alternative?
No, I don't dislike the term. I was just clarifying for people who might not necessarily understand.
No, Harry even says, I think we got whammied.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, it reminds you of a very important fact.
And just to interrupt, the reason that Harry figures out that they got whammied is because them getting together was too easy. It wasn't fucked up enough to be them. And Murphy is like, son of a bitch, we got whammied.
I do find the response funny, but I also find the underlying reasoning for it very sad.
Yeah. God, I hate Butcher sometimes. For many reasons. But it really got under my skin. A certain thing in the most recent duology really did not sit well with me.
We'll get to that.
We will get into that when
we
we
will
cover
get
it.
to that.
Yes, in like 6 months, so I'm just like putting in a teaser now.
But yes, the resolution is pretty fun.
I mean, yeah, it's this Baroness of the Red Court not knowing Dresden, because she's like, "You're gonna start the war up again," and he's like, "I don't really care. I've started wars before."
Oops! Did I accidentally a war?
I started one war over you people hurting, of you creatures hurting people. I'll do it again, but that's irrational. I am irrational.
Oh,
I
fun
mean,
fact.
what can you really say to that at that point, right? Yes, go ahead, Jim.
It looks like we are precisely 69 days out from the next Butcher book, which is Cinder Spires.
Very on theme.
Nice. Yes.
It's the weed number.
Also, apparently he's about a quarter of the way done with the next Dresden book.
Yeah.
Which is more relevant to the conversation at hand. Anyways.
So, if he's almost a quarter of the way done, would that mean he's about 4/20ths of the way done?
Yes. Anyways.
Haha, it's the sex number.
Anywho, do you want to move on to the final entry? And then...
Yeah.
We severely underestimated how long we'd be talking about side jobs.
Turns out, when you're talking about the wider implications of each story as opposed to just giving a summary of the story itself, it changes the runtime significantly.
Substantially, yes. But yes, last one is Aftermath, which takes place immediately after Changes.
And,
funnily enough, it's not from Harry's
rough
perspective.
read.
Yeah, funnily enough, it's not from Harry's perspective.
That is. I wonder what could have possibly happened at the end of Changes to make the story have to be from someone else's perspective. Do y'all remember how much Molly is in this story?
Not at all. I don't think so, anyway.
Is she not?
I don't think so.
Surprises me.
She's getting a bullet taken out of her leg.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I mistimed it a little bit. Never mind. Yeah, okay. Because as we'll find out in Ghost Stories, which we would find out if we hadn't gone so long, is she's quite relevant to this plot point as well.
Well, this is not just, Murphy working her way through the mystery surrounding Harry's shooting. It's also the kickstart to the conflict that spans the next 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 5 books?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the introduction of the Fomor?
Yes.
The Fomorians?
Yep.
more?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because
The fuckwads.
while Murphy is trying to figure out what happened to Harry, she's also asked by Will to look into yet another Georgia disappearance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like? You get what I'm trying to say, right?
It's only twice. Pretty sure. Is it twice?
I know it is only twice, but at the same time, you know where I'm coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a great look, especially with Butcher's track record.
To be fair, Kirby was the one who died in Turncoat.
Yep. Rip.
No, but like character death and damseling are two different things.
I know, but
Yes.
the other thing,
On a lighter note,
the other
though-
thing is in this instance is she is pregnant.
Mm.
All right, that's when this happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're having
Little
puppies.
puppy. Yes. But there is some funny stuff in this one, even though it is largely just very depressing. Including Murphy just noting that men speak in Martian in her narration. Which is her way of just saying, like, the way that some guys just talk in, like, grunts or side glances and stuff like that. And there's also the bit where she visits Marcone.
Well, yes.
And,
So first things first, she goes around asking if people heard anything about Georgia. She finds a woman who appears to be abused by the, I believe, super of the building, and takes him down. Eventually finds her way back to Marcone, and figures out that the supposedly, well, yeah, I would say supposedly abused woman had was actually working for Marcone. At which point she notes that Guard hands Hendrix some money. Because yes, they had bet on that one.
Yes, and Marcone doesn't even notice that they're exchanging money.
Either
Either he doesn't notice or he pretends not to.
I think it's less that he doesn't notice and more that he just doesn't care. Like, all right,
Either
yep,
way, it's funny.
expected that one.
It's more that I think he's just like past the point of caring, or rather, I'm sure there was a point where he may have like cared to a certain extent, but at this point, I think he's just like, well, I'm just done with this nonsense.
But yeah, unfortunately, most of the rest of the story is not very lighthearted.
Yeah, because yes, we are introduced to the Fomor, who have been kidnapping mortals with some supernatural talent, basically.
For nefarious purposes, of course, because they're assholes.
Yep. But of course, Murphy and Will, and then the other alphas that get released, are help save them.
So I will have to bounce, I'm afraid.
To be fair, we're pretty much at the
Duty
end.
called.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're pretty
So
much at the end there. I don't know what else we could really say.
So thank you everyone for joining us, I guess.
I mean, just to say how the story ends is Murphy still refuses to believe that Harry is dead. She's right to be fair. He's not dead, but
He's only mostly dead.
But basically, they do come to the conclusion that somebody has to take over looking after Chicago while he's gone, and they decide to do it.
Yep. Oh, and also Murphy and the Alphas clean house on the Fomor.
For now, yeah. for that particular.
It sadly does not stick.
Yeah.
I wish it stuck, but it's not. It's nice that they still got an awesome moment. But yeah, it's hard to talk about Aftermath too much because a lot of Aftermath is just like the vibes of what's going on in what follows with all the shit that went down in Changes.
Yeah. But yes, we can wrap this up now. So thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. In terms of future stuff, Thursday we're gonna do Baldur's Gate 3 again. Maybe get into the story of that a little bit more. Saturday will be gaming related, so probably One Piece, Pirate Warriors 4, or Dragon Age Inquisition.
Depends on the mood, really.
Depends on availability as
Depends on if I'm there, really,
Yeah.
is the one of those.
Sunday, we are going to be returning to D&D. We are in the Pyramid of the Mummy Lord. It's going a bit tits up, but we'll figure our way through. And then next Tuesday, we will be back with something probably gaming related, I imagine. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching. Please do give us a follow here on Twitch and on the website that shall not be named.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
On YouTube, give us a like and a subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. If you're angry with my hot takes, please roast me in the comments.
Otherwise,
yes, we definitely read the comments section. 100%.
I mean, I'm the one who runs the YouTube, so I'll be the one reading it. So I'll have to defend Fuzzy's hot takes, which will be fun.
Oh boy.
Otherwise, again,
I still maintain that not all of my takes are bad.
Otherwise, again, thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on Thursday for some Baldur's Gate 3. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Later.